Welcome everyone to another episode of the Maha Report for all your latest United news. It's been another interesting weekend. Won't lie, quite disappointing that we gave up a lead twice, especially in the last extra minute. But it is what it is, and the manager's come out and said that nobody was at fault for that last minute draw, though I feel like he's just trying to protect some players who clearly made some big mistakes. His exact quote was, "I won't blame anyone on the goals, but we know we could have done better as a team on all of them." It seems like he's trying to protect his defence and goalkeeper, but I think everybody who watched the game knew where the errors and the mistakes came from and who were responsible. The main talking points of the game was the lack of United's ability to keep the ball and control the game, especially after taking the lead. The bad showing from our defence. Again, De Gea still, I don't know where he is. He's not the De Gea that we've had for many years in the goal. He found good form, but he's not that guy again. And again, the errors seem to be creeping in. Pogba's injury, where are we going with there? He's just finally found some form, and many people believe that if we were to win the title, his form would be key. And that's all gone to pot really, because he's now injured and unavailable. So the immediate reaction is, and we've all been asking this already, where does Donny fit in? Is this a chance to get Donny in the team, make his ability and talent useful finally after signing him in the summer? And that's been a question all season. Obviously, looking at the substitution he made as soon as Pogba injured by bringing on Fred, that doesn't leave you with much hope. But let's see if Oli can make something use of this unfortunate loss for our team. The most worrying stat is for our defence. United have dropped too many points at home this season. We have now conceded 18 goals in 12 games at Old Trafford. When you compare that to last season, which was 17 goals in 19 games. So we've already conceded more goals than last season. And we have the third worst defensive record in the league. Only West Brom and Newcastle United have a worse home record. And that is an alarming issue on various points. And I think we have to start with the goalkeeper. We know David De Gea has been not at his best or his usual self for a long time now. We thought he found some form late last season. I wasn't convinced. I felt that he needed more competition. He got comfortable. I know we signed Henderson, gave him a big new contract. We have, until we got rid of Romero, we had 3 of the top 5 goalkeeping contracts in the league. So whoever making these deals up upstairs in the board needs to look at themselves, because it's getting ridiculous. We've got some of the most highly paid goalkeepers in the league, and we've got goalkeeping issues. And I don't understand how you give somebody like Henderson that kind of contract and you don't put more pressure on De Gea. I said last season he should be dropped, or at least so he can work his earn his place back, because he's just too comfortable. I don't even think he believes Dean Henderson is a challenge anymore. I think he was kind of scared early on, but not anymore. I'm not promoting that Dean Henderson is a bad goalkeeper, but I think if dropping De Gea for him makes him get back to a better, or make him try harder to play better, then I'm willing to take that risk, because it can't get any worse than this. Just ploughing along, hoping he gets better. We've been doing this for a few years now. He has a 60.9% save percentage. It's the second worst in the league. Only Rui Patricio of Wolves has a worse record. And after the game, Solskjaer pretty much said that as I've been saying all season, that we are not in the title race. City thrashed Liverpool last night, and they are 5 points clear with the game in hand. And you just don't see how. I know how the others are doing, and we are the nearest challengers, but I don't see how we make that up. Especially if they win their game in hand, then we go 8 points behind. And with our patchy form, that doesn't really sound like something that we're going to make up. And they look really good. They don't look like they're dropping points anytime soon. As bad as our home form has been, we have the best away form. No team has earned more points on the road than United this season. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as men have earned 27 points in 11 league games away from home. And most out of all the teams. While the errors were bad, this all goes back to the lack of football identity, and this is my biggest problem with our manager. There is no clear identity, and I'm not talking about counter-attacking football and all this 4-3-4 formations. Just a style like Pep Guardiola. You know what you're going to get every weekend. Jurgen Klopp, you know what you're going to get every weekend. We seem to adjust to the team we're facing. That is a strategy you use for the top teams, and how to nullify you don't use that as a football philosophy. But even United and even City don't do that against top teams. They play the way they do all the time. And we have always feels like a makeshift squad, a team, tactics, nothing really planned. We got players who are capable of keeping the ball, controlling their game, but they're on the bench, or they're not valued, or the system is not in place to make the most of them, and we've lost one of them, Pogba, with Pogba's injury, and you would think that would be a cue for Donny to come in. I know they're not like for like, but you have to ask the question, why was Donny brought in? I know they were talking about Fernandez's replacement in case he got injured, but there was no point of us buying a player in case one of our main players got injured. I know that sounds a bit, when we had other needs. There's still question marks over the centre-back pairing, which I didn't get to earlier on. So we had De Gea's issues, and then we still got problems with a centre-back, because, as I said in previous videos, why do we have McFred in front of the centre-backs? Because we don't trust them. And unfortunately, we can't go back on the Maguire deal. You can't pay 85 million for a guy to sit on a bench. So we need to find another centre-back to cover his flailings, really. And so the experiment with Lindelof needs to end. Has time run out on Bailly? And who's the other guy? We got all these centre-backs who either got injury problems or form or whatever it might be. But so far, nobody's held down the place. And we've waited for years, hoping that one of them, like Bailly, for example, stays injury-free, gets a run in the team, and makes that position of his own. And it's not working, and it's frustrating. And we got to figure out that in the summer. Or we got to, my immediate suggestion was to get a DM, because I think that I don't want to spend another 30 to 50 million on defenders. We need a DM anyway. I think we need to look at, but I don't want to. There are different types of DM. If Oli is going to stay, then we need a natural ball winner, because he's not, because his style of play doesn't suit the other types of DM. We need a guy like a Ndidi to come in, get the ball from the opposition when they're when they're in our half, and get it back to our team. And I just think that they need to make decisions on key areas, and it's firstly with the manager. They're going to stick it out with this kind of football philosophy style. We'll call it what you want. I don't know what it is. And then before they're giving him more cash to spend on players, and if they do, then the first signing we should make is a proper DM, and that needs to be the first signing this summer, because we need to end this Fred McTominay monopoly. It's not, we all know why they're in front, because Ollie doesn't trust the defence to protect the goal properly. So we have two guys shielding the front, and I'm a big fan of Fred, and I even like Scott McTominay, but we don't need two deep lying playmakers, or we need more on that quality. We either need to upgrade so we can go down to one DM, or we need to upgrade the centre backs. And I'm tired of spending money on centre backs. I think we need to look at the rest of the team before we start investing more money in centre backs. And I don't feel that was addressed correctly. We were after the wrong. Donny, as great as he is, he was not the player we needed to sign in the summer. We needed to sign a DM. Ndidi, I'm sure, would be vastly expensive. But there's other players around Europe that, if we look at teams that are good in signing those kind of players, you take Simeone's Atletico Madrid, and they just lost Partey, who I thought we should have signed, but I'm glad we didn't, looking at his recent injury issues. Look at the guys they're planning to replace him with. They're looking at Lille's Samare. Is that the guy we should be going after? Clearly Ndidi is going to cost 50 to 100 million, so Leicester are not going to give up to us for a bargain or anything like that, regardless of COVID issues. So we need to think outside the box, look for these guys that other great clubs will sign, and I think is a position that needs addressing. We're still being linked with Sancho, and I'm just confused. Basically, not that I don't want Sancho, but why did we get Diallo if we're then going to go back in the summer for Sancho? I keep hearing young players for the future, but Sancho's 21. So when does Diallo start? I'm sure there's only a few years between them, so it doesn't make sense. So I don't see the point of spending nearly 40 million on Diallo and then going back in the summer for Sancho. But rumours are out today that on Sport 1, for example, that Chelsea are keen to sign him. I don't believe that, because I think that Chelsea have got their own players that need to prove themselves after their poor season so far under the new manager. I think they've got quality there in those positions, so I don't see why they would sign Sancho. I think this is just Dortmund trying to create a market that's not there, because they regret not selling him to us for 9 million, and I think they're going to struggle to get rid of him this summer. Not at the price they want anyway. It would have to be a bargain. If we do go in for him, I'm not going to complain. But again, it just questions, what is the format of the signings here? Like, it seems scattergun. We're just buying the best players, winning games on individual brilliance, and nothing else. There's no fluidity to it. There's no consistency. There's just to the football. This is why we're having problems this season. It's kind of make it up as you go along, and that's why City are so far ahead of everybody else. If Liverpool didn't have their injury issues and overall they've become stale with their team. For 4 years now, they've been at it with the same players, 11, and it affects everybody. You have to recycle the team. That's why they've just gone a bit numb. The effects of bad ownership is starting to hit them with the with FSG and the lack of spending. You just have to compare, like when City had defender issues, they went out and bought Aki and Ruben Diaz for about 120 million. When Liverpool had centre-back issues, they went and spent about 2 million on Davis and Kabak, who nobody knows who the hell he is. So you can't keep up with that. Eventually he's going to catch up with you, and that's what they're feeling the effects of. And Chelsea is the management issue. A bit like ours, in my opinion. They've got the players, they've got the squad. It's just the manager's not right, and the philosophy and the football is not right. And I think if we had the right manager and he was making the right signings, not random ones like Donny van de Beek, which doesn't fit with anything but his football, then this is where we're at. And there's some big things to decide this summer, and I think they made it. I generally think this season is so up and down. I know City have found some form, but if the board made it an effort to bolster the squad this January window, we could have had a real general title run. And that's not because I think we're championship material at the moment. It's because everybody else is just so off the boil. We could have really had a go at this. And again, questions have to be asked of the board's decisions in the transfer window. And it could have been that one signing, that made all the difference. And now we're clearly not in the title race. We're going to have to we have to find some form quickly to stay comfortable in the top 4 race, ideally, because everybody's coming back. Chelsea are coming back. Liverpool are coming back. I know they lost to City, but that's, they're not playing City every week. So we have to stay here, stay form, and it's, can we rely on the Glaciers to spend money now that Tampa Bay have won the title, the Super Bowl last night? Are they going to, is that going to inspire them to invest in the club further? Looking forward to the league? I don't think so. So it's just big decisions. It's just a very disappointing weekend, and it's just, anybody who thought we were in a title race, needed to wake up. And I've been saying it for weeks. We're not in any title race, regardless of what happened in the weekend. We're just too inconsistent on the pitch, in the market, and it's not being negative. We have made progress, but it's more a case of other teams dropping levels and us gaining a few levels, and quality individual players that are dragging us up there at the moment. Real questions. I don't want to spend another penny in the summer until a long-term decision is made on the manager, and then we start buying players that suit that manager's system and style before we move on to anything else, really. Thank you for following. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing more of these very soon.